Hi there, it's Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Recently on my channel, I did a flat shaker card, and I also did a see-through window tag. Now, I wanted to join the two of these together, and so this card is the result. I have this border die set here. There's three that come in the set, and I'm using the largest one to cut out of an 80-pound Neenah Solar White card front. And then I'm going to put that template on top of my card base, which is a 110-pound Neenah Solar White, and I'm going to cut out the same frame out of the card base. Now, it looks kind of funny at the minute, so bear with me. The first thing that I need to do is to find some good adhesive. Now, this is the adhesive from Onyx Crafts on AliExpress, and this is really good, strong, double-sided adhesive. So I'm taking, I think this is the skinniest one. I think this is 2mm. She also has a 3mm one, which would be great. But I am just going right around the very outside of the frame. And there is not a lot left of the frame, to be honest. But this tape does the job perfectly. And on top of this, I'm going to lay a sheet of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch acetate. So I've just cut this acetate sheet to be the size that I need, and you can see there that it's on the front cover of my card. Now I'm taking a much thicker double-sided tape. I think this is 1 centimeter, and I'm going all around the outside again. This will show inside of your card, but don't worry, we will be covering this up later. But I just need a really nice thick border to make sure that none of the shaker elements are ever going to escape. So I have used this embossing folder here to emboss a piece of vellum. Now I need this just to be cut down a teeny bit smaller, just so it doesn't show around the edges. But first with this vellum, I need to create the window through the middle because I want the window to see right through to the middle of the card. So I'm using a little oval die here. The embossing folder and the oval dies and the frames are all from AliExpress, and I'll do my best to link everything down below for you. So I have cut that oval out of the middle, but what I need to bear in mind is that I don't want the shaker elements to kind of cloud the window, if that makes sense. So bear with me here, but I am adding double-sided tape right around the outside of this oval, pretty close to it, and again, we'll be covering this up later. So I'm just using some of that tape and then peeling it up as I go to make sure it is nice and solid and there is no gaps in my little line of tape. Now I'm just going to leave that exposed for a minute until I put it down onto my card. So at the moment there is just the acetate on my actual card, and I'm going to lay down the vellum right on top of the acetate. Now you can see I have left the top bit of release paper on my tape there. This is a mistake. You don't need to do this yet. I actually need to do it for the next layer. So do not leave that piece of tape there for now. And then I'm going to add another round of double-sided tape around the outside. Again, this one needs to be nice and thick to make sure we hold in all of the shaker elements. And I'm definitely making sure that I cross over all of the pieces of tape so that I know it won't be going anywhere, because that would be the worst case scenario, to give a shaker card to somebody and then having the shaker elements all spill out as they shake the card. So as you can see, I have still got that piece. So it's kind of two pieces. One is underneath the vellum and the other is on top of the vellum. Here is where I see my mistake, and I'm just using my scissors to get rid of that little piece of tape and seal it down that I had before. That was my mistake. You don't need to do that. So now I have all 4 pieces on top of the acetate, and I have that little exposed adhesive around the oval as well. So this is the one that you want to leave the strip up the top on the release paper, and I'm putting down another sheet of acetate over top. So at the moment the sandwich goes a piece of acetate, a piece of vellum, and then a piece of acetate. And all I have done is left a pocket up the top so that I can put these tiny little caviar beads from Onyx Crafts in the top. It just creates a pocket, and the acetate has also adhered to that frame of adhesive that we put around the oval, because as I said, I want the oval to stay clear of shaker elements. I don't want it to cloud the little picture that we will be able to see through there. So it may feel when you drop in your caviar beads that they aren't spreading around. Once you give them a bit of a shake, they will spread nicely. And again, I have left in a little snippet of the sound of the shaker because that is really important, and I want you guys to know that these flat shaker cards really do work. And then I have to tell myself to stop playing with the shaker card and carry on with the rest of the card. So I'm putting another layer of 1 centimeter tape around the outside, and this is what we are going to adhere down the final bits to cover everything up. So here's the frame that I made right at the very beginning out of the 80-pound card front, and I'm just going to adhere that down, and there's still lots of adhesive showing, enough for me to cut out my next frame. Now this is a piece of paper that I already had. It's red with kind of red glitter foliage and leaves and things, and I just liked the look of it, and it was nice and quick. I didn't have to create a piece of paper. I just wanted something to pop down onto my card. So I just had a quick look through my stash, and this one felt like a good match. So I'm able to kind of puzzle piece it right in the middle there, and it sits nice and flat. So we're kind of in the covering up stage at the moment. And I have these 2 oval dies, the oval die that I used to cut out the center of the vellum, and then I also have 1 stage bigger, so it creates a nice frame to cover up that adhesive in the middle, and that's looking pretty good there. You can see my hand through it, and I just want to cover up the back of some of this. It doesn't look too bad to me at all. All I'm going to add in is one of these white frames. I don't mind the look of everything else at the back there. I think it's kind of nice to be able to see the pattern of the vellum. So that doesn't bother me at all, but I do want to see something through my little window. So I have my little gnomes here, and I have the coordinating dies, and I coloured one in with just the reds out of my Spectrum Noir TriBlend pens, and this little guy is going to be what we can see through the middle. So I'm just going to use a tiny wee piece of blue tack, which is just a tacky kind of little ball, and line him up because I want him to be perfectly centered through our window, and then add some liquid glue onto the back of him, and that will adhere him down to the middle of our card. This card was not tricky at all. The sandwich essentially is just acetate, vellum, acetate, and then a couple of frame dies on top. So it's not tricky at all. You can definitely give it a go, and it has great fun results. I really do love this card. I have added a little sentiment here from the same stamp set as the gnome, and it's going to say, "There's nobody like you. Happy birthday." And also, which is important, is that when you close up the shaker card, you cannot see any of the writing through that kind of embossed vellum. And that was the idea, so that we could kind of hide it all. The embossed vellum does a really good job of that, so that you can also write on the inside of the card. I hope you enjoyed this card today, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next card. All the supplies will be listed in the description box below. Thanks, bye!